Hello, hockey fans. Austin here with today's day after discussion of the Oilers' huge, amazing, massive 3-1 victory over the Los Angeles Kings in Game 5. The Oilers have now taken a 3-2 series lead, and they have an opportunity to close this series out on home ice tomorrow night in Edmonton at Rogers Place. The crowd is going to be absolutely insane. Wish I could go to that game too, but I will be here doing the live stream during the game, so if you're excited about that and you have not yet subscribed to the channel and you want to be part of an incredible community, make sure to hit like, make sure to subscribe, of course. And in today's day after, it's not going to be nearly as long as some of my other day afters. There are a few players and a few talking points that I do want to bring up from last night's game, and then we'll try and wrap things up hopefully within 20-25 minutes. So grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a little snack. I will timestamp all of the chapters for you so that you can bounce around the video to anything that you want to listen to first. Does not have to be in chronological order. And a quick shout out to the entire hockey community that has just been incredible during the playoffs so far, and this first round in general in the postseason in the National Hockey League. Every single series has been absolutely bonkers. The NHL playoffs are the absolute best sporting event in the entire world, and I'm so excited to be part of this. I'm excited that Edmonton has a 3-2 series lead, and let's get into the day after discussion. Now, on the right side of the screen, you will see today's topics that I will discuss. Number one, you got John Klingberg, because he had himself one of the best games I've seen from him in an Oilers uniform. In fact, it was the best game he has played in an Oilers uniform. I want to talk about his game last night. I want to talk about the Oilers analytics domination. I'm going to be talking about some stats that Mike Kelly from SportLogic posted on X or Twitter.com that blew my mind. We'll also discuss some of the analytics from Natural Stat Trick, and then, of course, just normal analytics. Just not the advanced stuff, but just regular analytics, because the Oilers, they dominated the Kings last night, and actually they've been kind of dominating LA at 5-on-5 this whole series. The big difference in this series has actually been special teams. The Oilers, if they could just kill penalties, they likely have probably already wrapped this series up. So we'll talk about the Oilers' underlying metrics and, of course, the regular metrics. And then I want to talk about Jim Hiller Masterclass, ? Jim Hiller, the coach for the Los Angeles Kings. Earlier in the series before last night, he's essentially just rolling 9 forwards, 4 defensemen, and his team looks tired. But last night, he was doing a couple things that looked a little bit different to save some energy for his players. It did not work out for him, but I do think Jim Hiller is starting to panic behind the Kings bench. Then the last player I want to talk about for Edmonton is Evander Kane. His impact last night and his impact as this series goes along. Evander Kane is playing much, much better than I expected for someone that hadn't played in 10 months. He has been absolutely incredible for the Oilers. And then I will give my closing thoughts. Bottom of the screen, you have the score. The Oilers lead the series 3-2, and the 5-on-5 expected goals for percentage from Natural Stat Trick, 79.32% in favor of Edmonton. It was a dominating performance, top to bottom in the lineup. The Oilers were able to roll 4 lines, 6D. Ty Emberson didn't play nearly as much as the rest of the D core, but when he was out there, I liked his game. The Oilers, there was not a single passenger last night, right from puck drop. And speaking of no passengers, I think one of the players that was driving a major driving force was John Klingberg. John Klingberg last night assisted on Edmonton's tying goal to make it 1-1. He gave the puck to Evander Kane. He kept the play alive after the power play expired for the Oilers. And this is something that John Klingberg has been doing all series long. I have discussed John Klingberg a little bit at length in a couple videos now. His game has looked great. He does not look out of sorts. He looks comfortable. His skating has been good, and you wouldn't know that he struggled in the regular season. Oilers fans were really, really worried about how he would come into this series. He did not play game 1. They had Josh Brown in the lineup and only played him about 4 minutes. Poor Josh Brown. But John Klingberg, since he's been inserted into this lineup, he has looked great. He has looked terrific. His puck movement's good, but it's what he's doing away from the puck that is impressing me the most. His reads of the play. He knows when he should be pinching. He knows when he has to get back in the defensive zone. He's using that long reach that he has. He is an underrated player in terms of his defensive ability when he is reading the play well. We all know John Klingberg offensively throughout his career has been terrific. It's the defensive side of the game that has always been a little sketchy, and we saw that in the regular season for Edmonton. The defensive part of his game was awful, just terrible, but he has looked great so far for Edmonton. And last night in particular was his best game in an Oilers uniform. And I didn't watch a whole lot of him when he was on the Leafs or the Stars. Like I watched the Dallas Stars go on their cup run in 2020 where they eventually lost to Tampa Bay. John Klingberg was on that Dallas Stars team, and I don't honestly remember a whole lot from the Stars and from John Klingberg's play, but I don't remember Klingberg looking this comfortable on the defensive side of the puck. Now, obviously, the offense is his bread and butter, and he is allowing Edmonton to hold the zone, continue to work the cycle, wear down the LA Kings defenders, and his play at that blue line has been nothing short of amazing. The play that he made to keep that play alive before he gave the puck to Evander Kane, it was a bit of a high-risk play, but he used his body well to get that puck to Kane, and then Kane just rifled it over the shoulder of Darcy Kuemper, who looked unbeatable last night until that goal. John Klingberg, if he continues to play like this is an absolute incredible get for Edmonton, a player that, you know, a lot of fans, including myself, were not happy. Like, I wasn't mad, but I wasn't excited about this player. I thought the Oilers should have utilized some of that LTIR cap space for a better, more bona fide top 4 D-man, but John Klingberg has stepped into this lineup, and he has been pulling his weight, and I think it's allowing the coaching staff for Edmonton to start utilizing the other defensemen in different scenarios that are allowing them to thrive. Now, obviously, we want to see Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard kind of not play together, but with John Klingberg's play, it allows Paul Coffey to kind of do different combinations with the defensive pairs, and he has been great. Not looking out of sorts at all. And John Klingberg last night at 5-on-5, his expected goals for 92.65%. I'm just going to bring up some of the stats here for you from Natural Stat Trick. John Klingberg here. Let's see if I can get this without completely going nuts. So I'm just going to highlight John Klingberg's stats. Corsi for 76.92%, expected goals for 92.65%. Relative to the rest, look at the scoring chances. When John Klingberg was on the ice, the scoring chances were 16-1 in favor of Edmonton, and the high danger chances were 10-1 in favor of the Oilers. John Klingberg, I'm telling you, man, obviously that is something that I'm not expecting to continue throughout the rest of the postseason, but when you're on the road, the Kings have last change. It is a tough building to play in. John Klingberg allowed Edmonton to really have a great opportunity to win the hockey game. He was fantastic last night. Hopefully he can find a way to continue that really strong play. They're going to need him to play just as good in Edmonton in Game 6. He is going to be instrumental in whether this team finds a way to move on and go forward in the playoffs, or if Edmonton, I hope it doesn't happen, knock on wood. He will help the Oilers hopefully not blow this 3-2 series lead. Now, moving on, we're going to talk about the Oilers analytics domination. Now, there are a couple stats that I'm going to talk about that Mike Kelly from Sportlogic posted, and it might blow your mind. If you're into the advanced stats, it's probably going to blow your mind. I could not believe it. I was laughing this morning. I did not believe it, but Mike Kelly, one of the smartest minds in hockey. Sportlogic is something that a lot of teams do use, and a lot of media will use as kind of like their baseline. A lot of people trust Sportlogic's numbers over places like Natural Stat Trick, over places like Money Puck. So Evolving Hockey is another one as well. So we're going to take a look at what Mike Kelly tweeted yesterday or today. As for the game as a whole, it was the most lopsided playoff game by far in terms of goal probability since 2016-17. The expected goals last night, according to Mike Kelly and Sportlogic's metrics, 8.20 to 1.72 in favor of Edmonton. And if you take the difference, so 8.20 minus 1.72, that's an expected goal difference of 6.48. That is by far the highest, which beats the Carolina Hurricanes from last year against the Islanders, Avalanche against Nashville in 2022, and the Lightning against Columbus in 2020. That is an outrageous stat. Like, if you are creating enough chances to even have 3.5 to 4 expected goals in a single game, that is considered a really, really good game. That shows that you are really, really getting some good looks. But to have an 8.20 expected goal performance, that shows just how unbelievable Darcy Kuemper's game was last night. It's almost impossible for me to even comprehend this number. It is so comically large that you just have to laugh. Never seen anything like it. And then if you scroll down, he had tweeted before that, what a Game 5 performance by the Oilers. Most net front shots and highest goal probability in a regulation time game in the last 9 playoff years. So playoff ranks since 2016-17. So this is counting every single playoff series since 16-17. Last night, the Oilers had 13 rush chances, which would have ranked 15th. Slot shots 22, which ranks 26th. However, inner slot shots, so that's that like really high danger area, 17 inner slot shots. The Oilers had 17 inner slot shots, which ranks first. And then again, the expected goals 8.20. That is absolutely outrageous. I have never seen anything like this. The Edmonton Oilers Game 5 performance against the Los Angeles Kings, according to Mike Kelly and Sportlogic, that is pure domination on a level that you just don't see in today's NHL, not with the parity that there is, and not with a team like the LA Kings, who all season long have been a very good 5-on-5 team, a very good shot suppression team, and a very good high danger chance suppressing team. The Oilers, whatever adjustments they've made, especially last night for Game 5, whatever Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff and the Oilers analytics staff has seen as this series has progressed, they have been getting better and better and better at finding those holes, finding open lanes, and taking advantage of defensive breakdowns by LA. Now, can this continue? Will this continue into Game 6? I would like to say I hope so, and it should. The Oilers will have home ice advantage for Game 6. They have the last change. They're going to have that crowd on their side, all that adrenaline and energy that should be feeding the team on the ice. If the Edmonton Oilers come out in Game 6 with the same energy, same tenacity, same, no passengers, right? Everyone was carrying water last night for the Oilers, not a single passenger. If they come out in Game 6 like they did in Game 5, I like Edmonton's chances a lot. Darcy Kuemper was the difference maker for the Kings. He allowed LA to hang in there. But, of course, when you're generating as many chances as Edmonton is, eventually that dam is going to break. Kuemper struggled earlier in the series. He seems to be finding his game and getting better and better. The Oilers had numerous chances to win in overtime in Game 4. But Kuemper stood on his head until the Oilers eventually got their power play goal winner. And then last night, same thing. 1-1 game heading to the third period. Darcy Kuemper continued to just lay it all on the line, but the Oilers just kept pressing. They kept pushing and pushing, wave after wave, attack after attack. And not only the rush attacks, the Oilers cycling last night was terrific, and it is tiring the LA Kings defenders out. The LA Kings look slower and they look more tired. And that shouldn't happen because they are a younger, faster, bigger team than Edmonton. Obviously, the Kings have some older players, though. Some of their older players are who they rely on the most for defensive structure and, of course, for offense. So, Philip Deneau, he's given a lot of the tough defensive assignments at center. Anze Kopitar, same thing, and they also rely on him for offense. Drew Doughty on the back end. He's not getting any younger. Father Time is not kind to these players who are on the wrong side of 32, 33 years old, and I think it's starting to show. And the way Jim Hiller has utilized his players and his lineup as the series has progressed, he tried to make an adjustment last night, but we're going to talk about his masterclass coaching. Jim Hiller, depending what happens in this series, I don't like to get too far ahead. I don't like to imagine things, but we are going to talk about what happened in Game 3. That coach's challenge when the Oilers tied the game for goalie interference did not go his way. Edmonton gets a power play. Of course, we all know what happened. They score 10 seconds into the power play. They take the 5-4 lead, and they don't look back. And then in Game 4, the Kings have a 3-1 lead heading to the third period, and the LA Kings play shell hockey. They're just sitting back trying to trap the neutral zone. And for a guy that seemed to have the Oilers' number, I'm talking about Jim Hiller and his coaching style, the LA Kings, when they get in on the forecheck, when they are pressing and pressing and pressing, they make life miserable for Edmonton. It is very, very difficult for the Oilers to get out of the zone cleanly. It is difficult for them to make their outlet passes. They can't get an attack off the rush. They are forced to dump pucks in deep. And of course, the Kings are usually back, able to grab possession and then go back forward and press. The LA Kings, until last night, those first 40 minutes in pretty much every game, they have controlled play. They've had good opportunities. They usually have more goals than Edmonton. Every single game that they have lost, they have had the lead in. Game 3, they had the lead heading into the third period. Game 4, they had a 2-goal lead heading into the third period. Game 1, the Oilers were down 4-0 and 5-2, but Edmonton still found a way to come back and tie it before the kind of a fluky game winner in Game 1. And this is coming down to how Jim Hiller is coaching with the lead. It makes no sense to me, and so many Kings fans have expressed their displeasure and their frustration with him, and then Jim Hiller as well with the media when he's being asked about some of his decisions, kind of the logic behind them, what he's seen on the ice. Jim Hiller is getting frustrated with the media. He's not answering questions properly. He is being snappy with media, and he is stressed. And right now, Jim Hiller, this is a mental game. He knows the Kings have lost 3 straight playoff series. He knows that his team should be able to beat Edmonton. They had the 2-0 series lead. They've had a lead in literally every single game in this series, yet they're down 3-2. The Oilers have won 3 straight, and a lot of this is coming down to his coaching style. It doesn't make sense when you have the lead against Edmonton to just sit back, especially historically in the past. Yes, every team has roster turnover. Every team looks different. This is not the same Kings team as they were in 2022 or 2023 or 2024. The difference right now is those 3 years, the LA Kings tried to play that 1-3-1 trap, that notorious 1-3-1, which in today's NHL, it's a lot harder to sustain that style of play for an entire 60 minutes. If it was the clutch and grab era of the 90s, of course, you can absolutely get away with a 1-3-1. Not in today's NHL. Players are too fast, they are too skilled, and the Oilers have game breakers who can find ways, they can find holes, they can skate through it, and Hiller didn't even go to a 1-3-1 when they have the lead. He goes into an 0-2-3. That Game 4, when I was in Edmonton live watching that, the LA Kings, as soon as they'd lose possession, they would sit back. They had 2 players on the red line and then 3 players lined up on their own blue line. It was legitimately an 0-2-3. No forechecker. You're not applying any pressure. You're just allowing the Oilers to skate up the ice with the puck, and that is unsustainable hockey. And of course, shortening the bench the way Jim Hiller does is killing his team. It is absolutely killing his team. And last night, when the Oilers had the lead 2-1, Jim Hiller was doing something really, really strange. He was playing Adrian Kempe on the blue line next to Drew Doughty. So, not only was he shortening his bench, but now he's utilizing a forward as a defenseman to try and take advantage of something for the Kings. He's trying to get 4 forwards out there instead of 3 and then 2 D-men. I don't know what the logic is. Obviously, he's trying whatever he can. But to me, as a fan, as someone that tries to analyze the game objectively, I think that shows that Jim Hiller is panicking. He is panicking. He doesn't know what to do. He has completely gone away from his game plan that has been working. Every time the Kings get the lead, they shell. It's shell hockey. They just turn into a shell. They just sit back, and the Oilers, they're too good. You cannot sit back against this team. They have too much skill, and of course, their game breakers will find a way to break through. There's only so long that you can hold McDavid and Draisaitl to nothing before they eventually find a way to break through and find a way to score and start producing. Credit to the Kings last night. I will give Jim Hiller credit, and I'll give the LA Kings credit. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were the 2 lowest expected goal forwards on the Edmonton Oilers last night, along with Corey Perry. They actually did a pretty good job defending the Draisaitl-McDavid line. Of course, it's a lot easier to defend one line when they're loaded up than it is when McDavid and Draisaitl are on their own separate lines. I am curious to see if Edmonton will go back to the McDavid and Draisaitl on their own lines for Game 6. I would personally like to see them split up, but the Kings, they did a good job shutting down that line in particular. Yes, Draisaitl and McDavid eventually got 1 point each on Nugent-Hopkins' empty net goal, but when it came to the 5-on-5 play, McDavid and Draisaitl were not producing much. They weren't getting a whole lot going. Yes, they had a couple looks, but not what we're accustomed to. So the LA Kings, they should feel good that they can shut down that top line, but the Oilers' depth showed up. There was no passengers last night, and you got the second goal of the series for Mattias Janmark. You love to see that. And, of course, Evander Kane. He has stepped up. The Oilers can roll 4 lines. They have great players on every single line that are producing and creating chances. For Jim Hiller, what is his adjustment going to be for Game 6? And is he going to adjust anything, or is he going to just stick with it and hope for the best? We'll have to find out. Next player we're going to talk about before we wrap things up here. If you're still watching at this point in the video, thank you so much. Make sure to smash that like button. We're going to talk about Evander Kane and his early impact in the series and the playoffs. He did not play game 1 for Edmonton. I think there was a little bit of the league was looking into a few different players around the NHL who didn't play much towards the end of the season or at all, and then coming back for game 1 of the playoffs. They didn't like seeing that, and I think the Oilers held him out of game 1 for that reason, just to be like, oh yeah, he's still dealing with something. He might be ready for game 2. Obviously, he came in the lineup in game 2. The Oilers got absolutely blown out. Evander Kane, I didn't think looked horrible, but as this series has progressed, Evander Kane's impact is being felt. Game 3, he crashes the crease. He ties the game up late for Edmonton. Game 4, he did not score a goal, but his impact was felt on the ice. He was throwing hits. He is a menace on the forecheck, and that line with him, Henrique, and Connor Brown has been really, really solid. They look great together. They get in on the forecheck. Henrique is that defensively responsible guy who sits back. Connor Brown is great at utilizing his speed, getting into corners. And Evander Kane, he's the guy, he's the trigger man, and he has looked terrific. But last night was key for Evander Kane. As the power play was expiring, that second unit was out for Edmonton, and he absolutely rifled a puck past Darcy Kemper, tied the game up for the Oilers. And the game, as it progressed, Evander Kane continued to push, and he had a real solid game for Edmonton last night. His expected goals for last night for the Oilers was 87.01%. Scoring chances when he was on the ice, 17-4 in favor of Edmonton, and high danger chances, 11-2 in favor of the Oilers. It cannot be understated his impact right now, his physicality, his tenacity on the forecheck. He is playing much better than I think any of us anticipated, and if the Oilers are going to go on a deep run, Evander Kane, this is the first time we've seen a healthy Evander Kane in a couple of years for Edmonton. The last time that he was considered healthy in my mind was in 2022 when he absolutely lit up teams like the Calgary Flames and the Los Angeles Kings in those series back in 2022, and we are seeing vintage Evander Kane right now. He sat for most of the season, had a couple of surgeries. Obviously, he's worked his ass off to get back into a healthy enough state to be able to handle the grind of the playoffs, and he looks great. He looks comfortable. This is a player that you can move up and down the lineup now as needed. I would be very comfortable if I'm Chris Knobloch putting him in different situations because he looks good. This is a healthy Kane. It's night and day difference compared to how he was in the playoffs last year for Edmonton before they finally shut him down in the Cup Finals. Last year, he looked like he could barely even skate. He could barely shoot the puck. This year, completely different story. X factor for Edmonton right now. Huge for Evander Kane. Now, when it comes to my closing thoughts, what do we think about Game 6? Well, it's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. local time here in Alberta. The Oilers with the 3-2 series lead. They have a chance to close things out. Last year, they closed things out on home ice in Game 5. The year before, they closed things out in Game 6 in Los Angeles. And the year before that, it was Game 7 in Edmonton. They closed things out. When the Oilers have an opportunity to close out the Los Angeles Kings, they have been able to do so. So, we'll have to find out if Edmonton has what it takes to just get the job done, sink the Kings, just send them home, send them to the golf course. But there's going to be a lot more to talk about tomorrow morning in terms of my content. I will have a pregame report up. We will detail all the stats, all the storylines, and of course, keys to the game, player to watch, that sort of thing. And tomorrow night, I will be live once again here on the Austin Hockey YouTube channel doing live commentary. I cannot wait. My voice is so scratchy, but I'll make sure that I rest it, and I have tons of energy for the live stream tomorrow night. It's going to be an absolute blast. Cannot wait. Your support has meant the world. All of the new subscriptions, all of the donations and super chats and super stickers from the stream last night, all of the likes, all of the comments. I see it all. I acknowledge it all. Thank you so much for being the best fans in the world. Whether you're an Oilers fan, Kings fan, or a fan of any other team that tunes in, thank you. You are amazing. Make sure you tell someone that you love them today. And of course, as always, fight like a kid, fight like Ben. Let's go, Oilers. Let's see if they can wrap things up tomorrow night. Let's go.